This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The story within the story. And that's what makes us tick. We are Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, and we go beyond the news.
Grab a seat, pour a cup of coffee, and join the conversation on Now Breakfast.
Governors under the Northern Governors Forum have praised the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as progressive towards development projects in the north. The forum, led by Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State, outlined key performance indicators including tackling insecurity and the start of infrastructural projects as indicative of this progress. We speak with Yusuf Gupa. Mr. Gupa is a political analyst at Argon Intelligence and Analytics. Mr. Guba begins by disputing the position taken by the Northern Governors Forum.
Well, I believe the position by the Northern Governors does not reflect the reality on ground. Because while they posit that President Tinubu's administration has seen concrete results in terms of security, infrastructure, and governance, the reality on ground says something else. It takes security, for instance. Several parts of the north are being besieged. Amnesty International recently released a report that more than 10,000 people have died in northern Nigeria from insecurity-related deaths. On the other hand, we have mutations of Boko Haram in control of several territories across the north. In the northeast, for instance, in Adamawa State and Borno, we have ISWAP in control of territory. And in these territories, they adjudicate disputes, they collect taxes, they provide healthcare services. So essentially, we're having a state within a state. And all of this just goes to underscore the fragile nature of the state. And at the same time, there's an indictment on state capacity. On the economy, the macroeconomic reforms of Mr. President have not had a positive impact on the lives of northern Nigerians. The removal of fuel subsidy, coupled with the floating of the naira, is more or less a double jeopardy. It has had a strangulating effect on people. And at the same time, there's a symbiotic relationship between the economy and security, because you have a food insecurity crisis in parts of the north where farmers are being taxed. And at the same time, some of them have even been banned from going to their farms, right? So this has caused food insecurity and, by extension, malnutrition.
Security is definitely a major concern, but what are your thoughts regarding the efforts that this administration has made towards solving the security challenges in the northern part of the country?
So I will say that under Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, while there have been some gains in the sense that the military has made efforts to take out several bandit kingpins in recent times. However, if you juxtapose it with the administration of the late President Buhari, you would see that under President Buhari, especially in the early days, the military made sure that it was in complete control of the territorial space in the country. Vis-a-vis now, where you have mutations of Boko Haram in control of several parts of the country. So the state under President Tinubu is more and more fragile. Its capacity has been shown to be weak. Within the state, there are other states. And this just goes to underscore how there's still so much to be done in terms of military effort. At the same time, there's still so much to be done in terms of non-kinetic effort, which is not necessarily military.
I'm curious as to how you think that the Northern Governors Forum is collaborating with the federal government to address everything from insecurity to poverty, unemployment, and I guess the educational deficit that's in the northern part of Nigeria.
Yes, that's an important question, because I believe that in terms of these problems, federal governments, state governments have a large role to play. And that is where the Northern Governors have dropped the ball. They are unable to really come to terms with the fact that when it comes to issues like education, poverty, and even service delivery in terms of healthcare, it is their own responsibility and not that of the federal government. So in issues like Almajiranchi, for instance, the state governments are the ones supposed to be responsible for this. There's no reason why we should have the number of out-of-school children in northern Nigeria that we do have. The state governments of the north, year in, year out, are misappropriating resources, right? They have their priorities skewed. They focus on initiatives that would curry them favor, within the populace, perhaps for election, right? So they would rather sponsor people to pilgrimage than perhaps renovate schools to decent standard at the same time, pay and employ qualified teachers, right? So this is not a federal government problem. This is a state government problem. For issues like healthcare, while important, is intangible. So governors are unlikely to pay attention to that. If you want to come and campaign for your second term, you will not tell anybody, I built a primary healthcare clinic for you and your wives and your mothers can deliver without the fear of infant mortality or maternal mortality. No, so it's an intangible result. So this is what we're having. We have governors focused on things that could curry them favors and some form of political currency within the populace, as opposed to the brick and mortar of governance, what actually matters.
Is there a role that political unity and interstate cooperation in the North can play towards influencing whether it's the success or the failure of federal interventions?
Yes, indeed, there is, especially on the issue of insecurity. You know that there have been the governors of some of the northern states have had multiple stances on how best to deal with this. Some governors are in favor of negotiating with bandits, others are not. So this lack of cooperation is also an issue. So bandits can move from one territory to the other, understanding that in one particular state, there could be the possibility of reconciliation. So they will commit crimes in state A and go to state B, understanding that they could take advantage of the stance of that governor when it comes to negotiation, at the same time revert in another state. So yes, there is a role that political unity has to play. There's also a role in terms of elite consensus, because that's what matters. It is the elites of society that change it. And so the political elite of northern Nigeria really need to understand that when it comes to solving the problems of the region, it is not going to be solved from the outside, rather it is going to be solved from the inside. The outsized focus on politics and other frivolities would not take northern Nigeria to where it needs to go in terms of all of what it lacks.
So this report also references infrastructural projects, everything from the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway to the Kano-Katsina Maradi rail line, the refinery project in Kaduna, the gas line project that runs from Abuja to Kaduna and Kano, as well as the drilling activities in the Kolmani oil fields. It acknowledges that there is a potential for industrial growth in the region. And I wonder if this is a position that you agree with, and whether it is anything to, I guess, be excited for when it comes to the achievements of this particular administration as described by the Northern Governors Forum.
Yes, I concur halfway. I believe that, yes, all of this is a potential for industrial growth. The multiplier effect of these infrastructural projects in northern Nigeria would be beautiful, right? From the Kolmani oil and gas to the Abuja, Kaduna, Katsina oil and gas to the Abuja Kano Expressway. All of these projects, if completed, that's the caveat here, if completed, will have a positive effect on the region. It's been 2 years of President Tinubu's administration, and these projects are the progress hasn't been encouraging. I was on the Abuja Kaduna Expressway last week, right? And for an administration that has been in power for 2 years, progress is unfortunate. They haven't covered as much ground as they would have if it's an issue of if they are intending on doing so. So when it comes to all of these projects, they have the potential to industrialize the region, to transform it, to facilitate the ease of trade and movement of people. But then the caveat here is whether or not the administration will complete them in record time.
That's Yusuf Gupa, who is a political analyst at Argon Intelligence, speaking on the Northern Governors Forum that has thrown its support behind the Renewed Hope agenda as implemented by the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. You're still listening to Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, your Beyond the News station. We urge you to stay tuned. In a few short moments, our conversations turn towards a business and the entrepreneur behind it on Brands Now. Do stay with us.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.